The carpet in City Hall smells like burnt coffee and old rain. Your badge opens doors that never show up on public tours. Everyone smiles for the cameras, then whispers in corridors where the microphones don't work. Tonight, cash gets counted in a back room. Tomorrow, you make a call. This is your life, level by level, inside a corrupt politician's drug empire. Level 1: The City Hall errand-runner. Your first favor is small enough to call it harmless. Your days are calendars and clipboards. Constituent calls, ribbon cuttings, a folding table of stale cookies at a community meeting in a rec center off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. You learn who gets the real access. The developer who shows up after hours, the lobbyist who never waits, the donor who walks straight past reception like the building belongs to him. After a fundraiser, you're told to help close out. In a back room, fluorescent lights buzz while bills get stacked in neat bundles, 20s, 50s, a few hundreds counted twice. You slide them into envelopes labeled printing, youth outreach, event rentals. The receipts are always off by a few hundred. Nobody corrects them. Then the council member leans in. One phone call to a precinct commander, just to ease up on a certain corner for one weekend. You tell yourself it's about community relations. You tell yourself it's about stopping harassment. You tell yourself it's not even an order. You don't feel like a criminal. You feel like a key that has started turning in a lock you can't see. Level 2: The zoning fixer. You don't take bribes, you move paperwork. You stop carrying boxes and start carrying folders. Permits, inspections, business licenses with stamps that decide who opens next month and who bleeds rent while waiting. The counter staff knows you by name. The city planner keeps a spare chair for you near the map wall, parcels outlined in yellow highlighter like they're already claimed. The empire looks normal on paper. A cash-heavy car wash on a corner lot. A small real estate flip through an LLC with a mailbox address. Consulting invoices printed on thick letterhead that say nothing and somehow satisfy the file. Meetings happen as drop-bys. Hallway talks. Never email. Nothing sensitive touches the calendar. Your power is soft but absolute. You can stall a fire inspection. You can nudge a variance onto the consent agenda. You can make a competitor's hearing mysteriously continue another 60 days. You tell yourself you're just unjamming bureaucracy. You tell yourself every office does favors. You tell yourself you're protecting jobs. A fixer you trusted pulls you aside by the vending machines. Federal tools, he says. Rico. They don't need the whole story, just a provable enterprise. And suddenly every stamp you place feels like a fingerprint in wet cement. Level 3: The campaign cash magnet. The money saves you. Until it starts demanding policy. Now it's campaign headquarters, cheap carpet, a wall of precinct maps, a whiteboard counting days to the filing deadline. The printer runs hot. Volunteers fold letters until their fingertips go dry. And money arrives in ways that look clean from 10 feet away. You're handed donation sheets with tidy names and neat amounts. Meanwhile, the real cash gets counted somewhere else, then reappears as checks from contractors, small business owners, and community groups, hosting fundraiser dinners with rubber chicken and mandatory smiles. Bundlers show up with stacks of identical-looking envelopes. You notice the same handwriting across different donors. The same names popping up right before reporting periods. Always urgent. Always timed. You're coached on distance. Never meet the real money. Only the respectable cutouts. Keep your hands clean enough to testify if you have to. But the asks start arriving with the contributions. A zoning tweak here. A contract nudge there. Then the empire wants a headline. You're asked to champion aggressive drug enforcement, more raids, more seizures, more swagger at the podium. You tell yourself it's public safety. You tell yourself you're being tough. You tell yourself you can steer it later. Your campaign becomes a machine that runs on cash and excuses, and both need constant feeding. You've learned to hide money in paperwork and policy and speeches. The next rung isn't about taking favors. It's about aiming the crackdown itself and realizing one indictment can erase your name overnight. Level 4: The war on drugs, kingmaker. You don't just react to enforcement, you steer where it lands. The podium lights bleach your face while the department's patch sits over your shoulder like a halo you didn't earn. You stand beside a table of seized evidence. Baggies in heat-sealed plastic, a digital scale, a stack of 20s fanned out for the cameras. The police chief calls you, a partner. The U.S. attorney's aide shakes your hand and holds eye contact a second too long. Behind the scenes, your phone never stops. A precinct captain wants overtime approved for a surge. A deputy mayor wants talking points before the 6 o'clock hit. A neighborhood association wants a promise that the corner by the elementary school will be cleaned up by Friday. You learn the calendar of raids the way other people learn weather. The power is in the map. You can funnel task forces toward independent crews and leave cartel lanes mysteriously quiet. You can ask for license plate reader data on one block and not the next. You can turn seizures into photo ops, then redirect the forfeiture money into equipment contracts that circle back as donations. You tell yourself the crackdown is balance. You tell yourself you're targeting the violence. You tell yourself the quiet corners are just higher priorities elsewhere. And the strangest part is how easy it is to look righteous while you're trimming the city like a bonsai, snipping only what the empire can afford to lose. Level 5: The cartel-backed national figure. Your influence scales up, and so do the receipts you can't explain. Airports become your real office. Gate agents recognize your name. A security detail walks you through side corridors that smell like jet fuel and floor wax. You collect photos with governors, committee chairs, cable hosts' faces angled toward the same lens, smiles calibrated. Your staff carries garment bags and a locked briefcase that never gets checked. The empire doesn't call itself an empire anymore. It's trade, investment, security cooperation. Donations arrive through packs with patriotic logos, through consulting contracts with 3-page scopes, through nonprofit galas where the silent auction items are too expensive to be honest. In hotel conference rooms, you meet business delegations, who speak in routes and ports and product moving efficiently. The translator is always perfect. Your burden is scale. One call can reshape a federal grant formula. One letter can trigger an audit or bury one. You can lean on a DHS liaison to prioritize certain container screenings at Long Beach, at Newark, at Houston, then claim its risk-based allocation. You tell yourself you're protecting supply chains. You tell yourself you're fighting fentanyl. You tell yourself the extra funding is for families. But every handshake starts to feel like a receipt being printed in real time, ink still wet, name already spelled correctly. Level 6: The disposable apex. You sit at the top long enough to realize the top is a trapdoor. The office is quieter now. Thicker doors, softer carpet, a window that makes the city look like a model someone else built. Your schedule is protected, which means fewer people can reach you, and the ones who can arrive with rehearsed sentences and no surprises on paper. Even your closest aides stop texting details. They speak in person. They pause before nouns. The power feels total until it doesn't. A federal grand jury leaks just enough to spike the news cycle. A former driver hires an attorney. A burned-out detective decides to do the right paperwork for once. You keep 2 phones. One for staff, one for ghosts. You keep a spare suit in the office. You keep a passport in a drawer you never open in front of anyone. Your burden is being the story. Someone has to absorb the heat so the machine keeps moving: contracts, routes, elections, promotions. You can offer up a police chief. You can hang an appointee out to dry. You can float your own resignation as, for the good of the city. You tell yourself loyalty will be rewarded. You tell yourself silence buys safety. You tell yourself you're too important to lose. Then you realize importance is just weight, and the organization only keeps what it can carry. No rank removes the smell of counting rooms and conference halls. The higher you climb, the cleaner the language gets, and the dirtier the mechanics become. You learn to speak in policy while thinking in routes. You learn to shake hands without leaving prints. And in the quiet after the cameras, you finally hear what power always was. A leash you hold, and a leash that holds you.